everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. So I have recently finished this trilogy and I just wanted to do a review on it because what else am I supposed to do with a book that I absolutely love? I'm going to do a portion of the review that is non-spoiler, but then at the end I'll tell you guys when I'm going to be doing a portion that is filled with spoilers because I have to talk about these books because I loved them. So basically, Daughter of Smoke and Bone is about a girl named Karu who discovers something about herself that is phenomenal. And she discovers things about her family, like hidden secrets that she never knew, and she meets this guy. She discovers things about him, which leads to discovering more things about herself. You know, along the way there's so much character building. There's way more character building than world building in this story. I feel like there's not a big world that it's centered around. They mainly have one setting for each of the books, and they kind of switch settings per book, but they have different settings for each book. I love seeing the characters interact with each other, and I just loved how it's kind of like a puzzle basically, because at the beginning you know something, which, I mean, the beginnings are always slow, but you know something at the beginning of each of the book, and then at the end, everything that you thought was like kind of like a plot hole thing kind of fills itself in at the very end, and you have this giant beautiful picture at the end, and then you're like, wait, but then what, you know? Because, you know, when you're done with puzzles, you're always like, what do I do now? Same thing until you get to the last book, and then it's over, which I have to talk a little bit about in a little bit because I have to say a few things. There are also so many amazing characters in this trilogy. They just they don't introduce too many characters throughout the stories. I feel like all of the characters are pretty much there after probably halfway through the second book. They kind of all just continue to be there. There is three characters who might be new in the last book, but you know, other than that, they're usually the same characters, so it's really nice to see, to like follow the same characters from book to book to book and see how they change and to see what they do. And I honestly, again, I love seeing them react with each other, because when they meet, like if they've never met before, it's crazy. I honestly, like, that's all I can say. I don't really, like, without spoiling, there's not much I can say without spoiling. So I'm just gonna get into the spoiler section because I have so much to say. If you have not read this trilogy, I would probably click off now because, well, I don't know, like, if you want to be spoiled by me, you can, but I am giving you a fair warning, so you can't blame it on me if you get spoiled for this trilogy, because I gave you a warning. So if you don't want to be spoiled, click off now, and if you are fine with it, stay. If you've already read it, stay, or, you know, whatever. So here we go, let's get into it. Okay, so let's get serious here. There are so many things that are amazing about this trilogy. Let's talk about all the crazy twists and turns that this takes. First of all, Karu being magical, so that means this is her second life, and I just think that's really crazy because you don't know the whole time, so all you know exactly what she knows, and then you're just as mind blown as her whenever you figure out, and it's awesome. And it gets even more awesome from there, going into the second book when you know what Akiva did. Well, let's just talk about what Akiva did. He killed Brimstone. That's insane. I loved Brimstone, even if he was like a bad guy. He was a great guy. He was a good guy to Karu. He was a good father figure to Karu. Also, I love Akiva too, but like I was so mad when I figured out that he killed Brimstone, which is probably how Karu felt, but 10 times worse because he was basically her dad. Even if, you know, she didn't have one, or she technically does have one, but he's probably dead too. Well, he is dead because the Kirin, that's what Karu is. She's a Kirin, and they're all dead except for her and Ziri. Ziri, oh, let's talk about Ziri. I love Ziri. Okay, he is so cute. He is so sweet. He's adorable. Ziri is adorable. He's just this little puppy-like character that follows Kara around. Not technically follows her around, but sort of. Let's talk about that romance between Lyraz and Ziri. That was insane when I figured out, like, it wasn't insane, but it was like, whoa, because I was like, Lyraz with Ziri, like, he's too sweet and she's too mean, but like, I don't know, I feel like Lyraz is kind of growing on me now. I actually like her now, after you know the whole story about her and you know, develop a sympathy for her, and you know, Akiva and all that. I just have to say that I thoroughly enjoyed that, the whole trilogy, because I just figured things out that like I would have never guessed. And Days of Blood and Starlight, two groups getting together, Kiva's army, the Misbegotten, and Kara's Chimera. Wow, that was insane. First of all, I really thought they were gonna rip each other's heads off, which they almost did. One person did actually get their neck shot an arrow through, so technically they almost ripped one guy's head off. That Sirathar thing, Akiva and Sirathar, that was like, wow, like, I didn't understand what that was. And oh my gosh, can we talk about the ending of this trilogy? Akiva having Sirathar means he is a magistrate or something, and all of the, I forgot their names, they're the angels that are like the magic angels, the one with magic. Like Akiva's magic because his mom was Festival with his mom, and his dad was Joram, I think. That was the emperor before Akiva's uncle. I was just so frustrated at the ending of this trilogy. First of all, it was not satisfying whatsoever. There was no happy ending, which is fine in some cases, but this was not one of them, because I was definitely looking for a happy ending, and I know that like you can't always have one, but like I was so sad because like they had just gotten together finally again, like they, right in the middle of them being together at last, he's pulled away by the magistrates or whatever they're called, and he's taken away, and obviously Kara figures it out, like where he's gone and everything, but they just can't be together, and it sucks, and I just hate it. I hate it. And the only thing that makes it a little bit better at the end is that it ends, like the page ends with them about to kiss, and they're like in a house together, and they're about to kiss, and it's really sweet, and that's a great ending. The only problem is that you know that that's not gonna last for long, because I'm pretty sure it's only a month or so before they both have to separate again, and that's just, oh, this just makes me so sad, because they're such a cute couple, and they should have been together. Speaking of cute couples, Mick and Susanna, let's talk about them. Mick and Susanna, they are the cutest secondary character couples I have ever met. And technically speaking, they're not too secondary, even though they're not main characters. Like, I would say they're in between main and secondary, because they do have parts in the book that are theirs, but also they're not nearly as important as like Karu and Akiva, or Lyra and Ziri, or, you know, the White Wolf up until he dies, of course. Anyway, so Mick and Susanna are literally the cutest couple. They are a couple goals. They are like cute little nerdy artist kids, you know, because Susanna is an artist and a ballerina dancer, and Mick is a violinist. Oh, I loved how the angels and the Chimera, how sweet they were to Mick and Susanna, and I loved it when Mick played the violin for them, and they were just, oh, they were so sweet, and they listened, and they loved. I love how Mick and Susanna can win over the Chimera so easly, and the angels, and it's just so great. It just brings a smile to your face. They always do. So that's one thing again that makes the ending a little bit less so brutal. I just said the White Wolf. That was genius what they did. That was a genius. Up until the point where after they took Akiva and Lyra's to the, you know, they put them in that little jail cell kind of. I thought that it was a real White Wolf up until Karu went over and hugged him. That whole time that Akiva and Lyra's were in Kara's room and the White Wolf was in there, I was like, oh no, how is this ever gonna like get fixed? And then again, she uses that puzzle working magic to change everything. Kara actually killed the White Wolf, and that, oh, also, when she killed him and in the next scene he walks in, you're like, what? I was like, how is this possible? And then you figure out that she put Ziri's body into the White Wolf, which was, again, like I said, genius. That was literally the coolest thing, and I'm so glad that Ziri could pull that off, and it was kind of weird that, like, he could, if I'm being honest, but you know, it kind of makes you sad knowing that it was actually Ziri and he had to be mean and rude like that for a long time. One thing that I want to say is that I was expecting a giant, flat-out battle in this book. Now, there were battles in this book, but we didn't see any of it. We did not see war in the slightest. Well, we kind of saw fights, but we didn't see any war scenes, battle scenes, and that was kind of sad because I feel like the author, you know, Lady Taylor, I feel like she was trying to deviate from the norm. Like, no, I don't want a giant battle. I want more of the politics side. I want more of the sneaky assassin kind of feel side. I mean, that was, yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of politics, and it's crazy to see politics like that in a fantasy book, which again contributes to like world building and character building, because you see what type of character they have in the face of like adversity and like challenge and what they'll do, and also whenever the groups mix together, how well they do to like not kill each other right off. And then I really like at the end how they're a united front all together at once, but I feel like that won't, in my mind, I'm like, that probably won't last very long, because think about their history. They have hated each other forever, and there has to be a few among either one of the groups that don't, like, that still have a hatred for the other group. And I am kind of pointing more to the Chimera side, because I feel like they probably still have grudges, because it wasn't that long before Ziri took over the White Wolf's body and all that stuff. I mean, that wasn't too long in between, but I don't know how they all changed within that small gap, because I feel like some of them are still really against being together. I remembered the end where the White Wolf's head was on a stake, and I was like, no, that's Ziri, that means he's dead. And Lyraz was crying, and then Lyraz, she actually got his soul, and they put it into a new Kieran body for Ziri. It was so sweet. The only problem is that every death he has is brutal. The first one was not even a death. Like, he didn't even die the time he came back after being tortured by Joram, or the new emperor. Hera brought him back, which is great. And then his second death, his real first death as Ziri, he just slashed his throat, and that's probably not the best way to die, I feel like. And then he died with his head on a stake as the White Wolf, which is really kind of sad if you think about it, because every life he has is really sad, and he's never his own person until the end, when he gets to finally, I think, be with Lyraz, and that's going to be super sweet. I really wish we would do another novella about him and Lyraz being together, because that would be a great story. I just kind of wish overall that it would be more of a happy ending for Karu and Akiva, because again, I love Karu and Akiva. That's pretty much all I have to say about this trilogy. I absolutely adore this trilogy. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. Bye guys.